Hey all, Siege here, and I got to thinking about some of the coming content lore-wise in Warframe recently, and yeah, I know, it's probably like, I don't know, a year away, 2 years away. It's really tough to say when it will actually come out, but the newest information from tennocon specifically has really got me thinking about a bunch of things in the game lore-wise, so I wanted to put a video out discussing some thoughts and see what you think. You know I love this lore shit, come on. Maybe something I bring up will push the discussion further through you, you know? There's only one way to find out, so let's do that, shall we? First things first. Why does the man on the wall always appear to be acting like a child? Obviously it takes the form of the tenno, but when does the tenno ever actually behave like this? It just appears to have the mentality of like, I don't know, a 10-year-old, and yet there's this scene after the sacrifice quest that conveniently enough bugged out for me, I guess, because I never got to see it.
Feeling better, kiddo?
I killed him. Isa.
Did you now? Is that how you remember it?
Yes.
Good.
It never did visit me after the quest was complete, even after replaying it one time the whole way through. And I gotta be honest with you, I'm still a little bit salty about it, you little bastard, in which the demeanor changes to an almost sadistic nature, appearing for at least from what I can remember as the first time it felt like it was in charge of the strings, and that we and others are just its unwilling puppets. Creepy scene. It's a shame I missed it. It's very god of mischief in nature, as everything about its appearance and abilities makes it seem as if this entity is omniscient. I mean, it can show up anywhere. It knows everything it needs to, at least regarding itself and whatever entity it engages with. Heck, even Natan knows it exists. And don't forget, it was this thing that led us to Ballas and getting the Paracesis sword. So there has to be some deeper connection between all of it. Even though, amazingly enough, it doesn't appear like the Lotus has actually had any contact with it prior to when we did the Chains of Hero quest. I mean, if you think about it, why would the man on the wall even be a part of the Chimera prologue? Is Nata's knowledge of it solely based on what we experienced at the climax of that quest, or has it visited her as well? And if that's true, does it have a connection to any of the other sentients? Is it just something that can latch onto anything the Void has touched, like a parasite infecting any intelligent organism it comes into contact with? During the Ropalolist fight, she makes reference to it a few times actually, and refers to it in a very unflattering light in the process, which definitely leads me to believe that whatever encounters she's had with the man haven't been entirely pleasant. If in fact that is what she's referring to, of course, and let's also not count out the possibility of her just lying, as I still don't really trust her after everything that's happened. And that's another thing. I noticed some comments in an earlier video I posted regarding the most likely future of the Lotus, saying that DE alluded to the idea that she would most likely return to the Tenno, and I don't know where that's coming from. It is true that they mentioned that she would have to make a choice between us and them, but I just don't see where she appears to still be on our side. Her dialogue in that Ropalolist fight is not at all loving toward the Tenno. In fact, she even makes mention of the idea of her taking mercy on us was in fact a lie.
So the Golden Wrath came, and after, I was born. A mimic. A spy. Conceived to burrow into nests and swallow the pitch eggs of their war machine, the Tenno. But when I saw your tender faces, I took mercy. Or so we were told. But in truth, we were both imprisoned in Lua's belly. My light remade by the creators. I became a memory, a ghost. Reprogrammed to destroy my family, my people, my history. But now I am saved by family. Together, we will overcome the flaws of our light, the gods of our creation, merging with them like steel, bearing amalgams with the weakness of neither.
Meaning, she had every intention of completing her initial goal until she was captured and made to believe she was to care for us like a mother. Not that she wanted to. That's at least what she's directly saying to us here, if nothing else. Furthermore, she refers to the sentients now as her family, and that's a pretty strong word, especially in the context she uses it. So the choice that Nata is going to make still feels, to me at least, like it's going to be with her quote-unquote family. I can understand holding out hope, but for me, there's way too much logic to allow feelings to get in the way here. I don't know. Anyways, the last little point I want to make about her is one that I find kind of odd. As far as I've seen in the game, every mimic that reveals itself turns back into a typical looking sentient for the most part. Heck, Ballas even becomes one, and it appears as though eventually he won't retain any of his human form before it's all said and done. So why does Margulis's body still seem to exist? It's almost like she's kneeling and praying with a sentient shell around her. If she can change form, why has she not given up her human one yet? If you take a close look at Ballas, even he seems to have transformed more than she has. Is this significant? It's tough to say, as this could have just been a way to make her more recognizable for dramatic effect during the quest itself. But overall, I have to say, I feel like there are way more questions this year about the overall story in Warframe than even last year at this time. And I gotta ask, how can that be? And when can we get some catharsis already, right? Hopefully DE will start to tie up a few loose ends. Think about it. We still have no real idea what the Stalker's role is or what that character is even doing after the events of the Second Dream. Simodius has been teased a few times and has actually been revealed, conveniently enough, as the asshole apparently keeps nerfing my Rivens. And so help me God, you little shit, you touch my Zenistar Riven stats, we're gonna have some problems. As in, you might not be welcome on the Orbiter anymore. Understand? I'll take this mod bench and shove it so far up your Hanhao is obviously present somehow within Ballas during the sacrifice quest.
Lure brings you strength, Umbra.
So even his story hasn't wrapped up completely yet. At least one Grineer Queen still exists, and there are quite a few clues pointing to the potentiality of the return of the other. So like, does Teshin want in, or what? Then you have Alad V and the combination of Corpus and sentient soldiers, as well as what side that little weasel will eventually end on. We have the aforementioned Man in the Wall, and now with the Daviri Paradox, Kuva Lich battles, and the new war on the way, boy, they've got a lot to cover story-wise, and that's largely dependent on the idea that everything they want to accomplish actually gets done on time. We're going to talk about this much more in depth in future videos, but with this one, I just want to know what you all think. What are you looking forward to most in the game? Do you want the Lotus back? I'd take Ortis at this point, personally. Just saying, but that's just me. At any rate, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please have a wonderful day today, and I'll talk at you in the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye.